wanted to talk about like acne and pimples. How I think acne is demonic in nature. Like it's a sign of that you're basically your body's cleansing itself of the impurities or the demons on the inside. I don't know, just a thought, not necessarily true, but I like to theorize about things. Um, so I got this pimple right under my freaking goatee, right under my lip, my chin, right under my lip. It's like annoying. It just came out of nowhere. My lip also feels burnt. I'm getting. I mean, the tinnitus has been doing a lot better lately than where it was, where it was just like horrible tinnitus. It's doing a lot better. I also want to talk about the Morgellons things and how I think those are demonic. And that basically, if you want to get rid of those, you gotta cast them out of you or get them cast out. It's basically like demons, like artificial demons, but they're still demonic though. Um, I don't know, I've just been under a lot of spiritual attack, but it's because I've been making a lot of breakthroughs lately. And when you try to push the evil, dark forces, they try to push back against you when you're making spiritual breakthroughs. Uh, the absolute worst thing you can do, though, is listen to demonic music because that stuff brings in more demons that you just like literally just casted out. And now you got to get rid of the demons again. Like that mess just brings in music, just brings in demons. It's crazy, and it's hard for me not to listen to the metal music because that's what I've listened to for the majority of my life. But as soon as I started listening to that crap when I was playing a video game, the other day I started getting like attacked and like electrocuted like crazy. Uh, so you don't listen to music. I don't know. I'm getting attacked spiritually, but I'm also making breakthroughs. So it's because when you make breakthroughs against the the, the powers in high places, They come to try to attack you more with their witchcraft and mess. So, so the worst thing you could really do as a Christian is listen to any kind of anti-Christian music, which I've done a lot in the past. Listen to satanic music, even though I'm a Christian. It kind of makes no sense. Music is just like poison, really. Some music is. It's just like poison. Another thing that's demonic is cramps are demonic. Charlie horse cramps are demonic. That's a sign of black magic being done. Um, don't fear the demons, though. Just keep casting them out. I don't know. Demons, they're like a poison. They just gotta be basically drawn out, like how like snake's venom is drawn out. It's just like a poison that needs to be drawn out because try to basically inject you with venom. So with the word of truth, with the word of God, in the name of Jesus Christ, you can draw out these poisons. See the whole like Eustace Mullins said, talks about in his book, Murder by Injection. The whole witchcraft based medical system is not about healing at all. It's about poisoning pretty much people. Good book, by the way. He basically said that the Rockefellers own all the drug companies in the book, and that the Rockefellers are under the Rothschilds. But the Rothschilds really control the Rockefellers, is what he said. We all know who the Red Shields are. So yeah, those all these medications and stuff people take for depression, other types of sorcery, they just fill people up with demons and more problems um, that need to be casted out pretty much. Instead of treating the symptom, they just basically poison people. It's just it's ridiculous. So it's a scam. Is what it is. I'm gonna title this video, I guess, "Murder by Injection," since talking about that book. But yeah, the Holy Spirit is it heals, but the devil counterfeits healing. He doesn't really treat the root cause. He just treats the symptoms. I mean, I'm honestly starting to realize that the root cause of most medical problems, cancers, you know, skin diseases, acne, dermatology stuff, it's all demonic. It's all demonic. It's impurities that need to be casted out with a person. The entire medical industry, pharmaceutical industry is just, it's all about greed. I mean, all this money basically is being funneled back to the Rockefeller cartel, which really goes back to the Rothschild cartel, since the Rothschilds controlled them. But they make everything expensive on purpose because they're basically the reason why they need everything to be expensive and they need the medical treatment not to be effective is because it's it's basically they need to be able to collect souls to fulfill their blood oath um basically fulfill their blood contract, blood oath to Satan, to basically have to collect souls in order to maintain their, like that movie Pirates of the Caribbean where he has to basically, the Davy Jones, the devil wants him to try to like give him souls or whatever. I mean, it's pretty much how it is with these people. They've made a deal with the devil, and part of the conspiracy is they have to use the medical industry as a way to collect souls for the devil. Satan, he calls himself the collector of souls. He ain't getting my soul though. People don't realize that Satan still is actually an angel, even though he's an evil one. Um, that's why he masquerades as an angel of light. But just don't ever trust doctors. They work. I mean, a lot of doctors are Freemasons too, and they're the ones that have put microchips in people's bodies and stuff. So they're not to be trusted. The whole bedside manner thing is a part of is a part of the theater of the plague doctor. What they really are is plague doctors, like the ones in the Phoenician plague doctor Illuminati masks, like like I said, Venice is like one of the home cities of the Illuminati, where the black nobility settled in from the Phoenicians. You know, I had a lot of videos on the black nobility that were deleted, but I still have the knowledge in my head. So yeah, they came to Venice. The Phoenician Canaanites did, and they basically set up shop as merchants in Venice. Set up shop as merchants, and they basically founded. They started basically controlling the monetary uh, supply of Europe through basically by controlling the Republic of Venice. So that's why the Illuminati at the Rothschild, because the Rothschilds are Venetian. They came originally from the Venetian families, I think, and because they're the black nobility, they come from the North African Phoenicians and the Canaanite, Lebanese, Philistines, and they masquerade as the tribe of Judah, but they're really not the tribe of Judah. So the Illuminati, they like to wear the Venetian masks. That's why you see in that movie Eyes Wide Shut, where they wear all those Venetian masks and stuff, because that's what they had Illuminati parties in Venice, because that's one of the original cities of the Illuminati. That's why they always wore all those Illuminati. They basically that's why they wore those Venetian masks in that movie. Um, like I said, there's two satanic bloodlines, two main ones, but there's other ones too. There's the Canaanites, and then there's the Scythian Hunnic bloodline, like I said in the other videos, that came from Nimrod. Huno and Magyar are the sons of Nimrod. So the Hungarians, pretty much. That's another one of the satanic bloodlines. But the main one that controls everything is the Canaanites that originally came from the city of Tyre in Lebanon, that had a monopoly on purple dye at the city of Tyre, Lebanon, which is why all royalty today wear purple to represent their Tyrian purple heritage. Like I said in the other videos, I believe that the black nobility mixed with the white nobility, the Hungarian Hun nobility, the Aryan nobility that came from the east, that settled in Europe. They mixed the black nobility from the south. I believe they mixed with the Viking nobility of the north, and also the Scythian Aryan nobility from the east that became the Germanic peoples. So that's my best. That's a good theory as to why they have the genetics of the Canaanites, but they also have the genetics of the Aryan satanic bloodline too. So they're mixed. They're mixed. Like I said, they can delete my videos, but they can't take the knowledge out of my head. I said, I think it's Mount, Lebanon is basically really the the homeland of the actual Freemasons. That's where the fallen angels landed on Mount Hermon. Uh, but it's not actually where the actual Illuminati dwells today. But that's where they originally came from. Uh, they went from being the Tyrian nobility to being the Venetian nobility. So Phoenician to Venetian, and then they mixed in with the Germanic, Aryan, Hunnic bloodlines. That's why they look. That's why they look white. And that's why they look Germanic and Anglo-Saxon looking. It's because they mixed in with these other bloodlines. Um, yeah, just pretty much to summarize, there's a nobility that basically controls everything from the south, from the basically the Orient, from the land of Canaan, and then there's nobility that came from the east. That's basically the Gog and Magog, and they mixed with the nobility from the south. And then there's an ancient nobility from the north of the Norsemen, Vikings too. So you got north, south, east, and they all converge in the west. So pretty much the Scythians and the Phoenicians are the two main peoples you need to focus on, regardless of who controls everything. The two main bloodlines. Uh, like I said, the Scythians became the Tartarians, and they had their own empire east of what is far east in Russia, pretty much. But that bloodline of Dracula is from the Scythian bloodline of the Huns, and that's the Eastern Turkic vampiric bloodline that merged with the Canaanite bloodline from the south. That's uh, they're all basically Nephilim bloodlines. Every time I make a video like this, I can just expect to be gang stalked worse, because talking about these bloodlines, they don't like me talking about them, their genetics. Yeah, basically the Canaanites mixed with the Nazi bloodlines, or the Ashkenazi bloodlines mixed with the Canaanites. Uh, and that's what you get. That's pretty much where the modern day incarnation of the Freemasonic banking Joker comes from. That's like, the Joker card is a wild card. So these people, their origins is a wild guess as to where they came from. But I got the answers to where they came from. So they're a mixture of two bloodlines from the east and from the south. That's the best guess I have. A mixture, a synthesis of the Scythians and the Philistine Phoenicians. But most likely, they're the majority. The majority come from the Phoenicians, though, because the Phoenicians were traders, into trading currency. And they became, from them, basically come the bankers. And they were also, the Freemasons come from the Phoenicians, but they also come from the Scythians too. Like I said, the Rosicrucians come from Scythian bloodline, from Russia. Modern day Freemasonry is a synthesis of all these different bloodlines, cults. And Scottish, there's just a lot to keep track of. That's why I make these long playlists to help me keep track of everything, because there's just a lot to keep track of in regards to keeping up with all the bloodlines and the knowledge and stuff. That's why you should always kind of write down everything in your own notes. You should make notes instead of just trying to keep everything in your head. And I try to just keep it all in my head, but sometimes my memory is so not as good. But the general ideas are still there of everything that I need to, for the good knowledge that I need to keep. Like I said, it makes sense that they come from these two bloodlines, because you got the Huns, they were invaders from the east, and then you have the Phoenicians. They both hated Rome. They both wanted to destroy Rome, and they both basically became the modern day. These two bloodlines either, they worked together, or they converged to become pretty much the controllers of the world. You got the merging of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. So you got the merging of the Austrian bloodline with the Hun-Hungarian bloodline. So it's most likely that this Hungarian Hun bloodline that also settled in Transylvania, that became the Transylvanian bloodline of Vlad the Impaler. This bloodline intermarried in with the Phoenician Canaanite bloodline. And these two bloodlines, the Scythian Huns, Tartarians, mixed in with the Canaanites, converged to form one elite. And they also mixed in with the Egyptian bloodlines and the Viking, Saxon bloodlines. I don't know. There's just a lot to keep track of. Genetics is very complicated. really someone needs to write a book on the, Eustace Mullins. He already wrote a book on the Canaanite bloodline. Someone needs to write a book on the Scythian, Hun, the other bloodline to really make a synthesis with, you know, make a book about it, because there's not much knowledge, there's not much information, there's not many books about that bloodline, or the Tartarians for that matter. So I've been working to try to do research on this other bloodline, but also I'm trying to remember all the knowledge I gained about the Phoenician Canaanite bloodline, and I'm trying to figure out and piece the pieces to get in the tapestry together to figure out how all these bloodlines interrelate in the New World Order. But basically, what I was reading on a website is this guy was saying that the Canaanites fought were fighting with the basically the German, basically the Nazi bloodlines for power, and that's why World War II happened, because Hitler wanted his own Tartarian, he wanted to basically have his own Scythian empire, and that's why he wanted to expand into Russia. But the Canaanites, the Red Shields, wanted to have a global banking New World Order, and basically Hitler's vision of a Rosicrucian Masonic, Freemasonic, Aryan, Scythian empire clashed with the fake Joker's Canaanite vision of a Venetian Illuminati empire, banking empire. So that's pretty much what I think happened, but it could be wrong. Basically, one satanic bloodline was fighting with the other satanic bloodline. So you had the Axis powers and the Allied powers. So basically, Freemasons were fighting with other Freemasons, if you really think about it. Because the fake Jokers were Freemasons also. And Hitler was most likely a Freemason or a Rosicrucian. And it's most likely that the Rosicrucians must have been fighting with the Freemasons or the fake Jokers. And that just has to be the most likely explanation, is that all the different secret societies aren't all the same, and that they must have infighting and division between the different bloodlines of the Nephilim. And then there's also the question of where does, someone needs to make a video on Aleister Crowley's genetics and satanic bloodline, because I'm pretty sure he comes from the bloodline of the dragon. But which bloodline, which part of the bloodline did he come from? He called himself the Beast. He wasn't really the Beast. He's a liar. He wanted to be the Beast. Maybe he was possessed by the Beast. I don't know, it's just really hard keeping all this knowledge in my mind. Trying to preserve all of it. I just did a lot of research on all this. basically like just satanic bloodlines in general and their origins. Just not trying to lump them all in as they're all just reptilians. I try to actually you know categorize and try to look at the complexities of things and not just lump them all in as they're all just Canaanites or they're all just reptilians. I try to dissect and figure out all the different bloodlines and all the different and how all the different secret societies work and basically are against each other. I mean, what they do have in common is that basically the satanic bloodlines, they all come from Satan pretty much, or Nimrod. Or the Nephilim. Nimrod was a Nephilim. I don't know, it's just a lot of work. Piece this all together. I really need, like, if I was ever to actually need some really good books on some. I need some books on the actual Tartarian Empire and some information that's not on the internet in order to really understand this hidden empire that's been hidden from humanity. And I also need some more information on the Scythians and how I need to find some information that shows any interaction between the ancient Phoenicians with the ancient Crimean Scythians. So like I said in another video, I believe the Phoenicians sailed up the Black Sea to the Crimean Peninsula and had interaction with the Scythians. Like I said, the Scythians became the Thracians, the Thracian Greeks, and I believe the Phoenicians had interactions with these Scythians, who basically became the bloodline of Vlad the Impaler in Romania. So I need some more information on them. I need some books that have some, that are published a long time ago that have information that can't be found today. And I need to compile this research into like a book or something that I don't know. I just find it interesting. It's kind of like a puzzle. It's a good puzzle that takes a long time to put together. Back to like the medical industry. Yeah, it's all pretty much like you said. He's pretty much said that the Rockefellers control all drug companies. So that must mean they must control the coronavirus vaccine also. Because who owns Johnson and Johnson? Who owns that company? I don't know. In some way, they probably have something to do with the coronavirus. The Rockefeller family does, and the Rothschilds have something to do with it too. See, no one mentions these families are like, oh, you can't name them. They are not to be named. It's like, but there probably has something to do with all this because they're the ones supposedly at the higher echelons of the pyramid. So pretty much, you want to really, we're basically controlled by these banks. These banks are the ones funding your gang stock, and they control the Federal Reserve. The families that own the Federal Reserve control basically everything in the United States. They basically own this country. They're the ones that basically fund all this gang stalking mess. They fund Freemasonry in the United States. Um, they're pretty much the Illuminati. The Illuminati is basically just these families, the Illuminati families or whatever, and they pretty much own everything. They pretty much own our government. Um, they pretty much tell the president what to do, and they basically have meetings with the president and stuff, and they have their own people be installed in the government and stuff from these banks and stuff. One of his books, it's I think it's one of Eustace Mullins' books. He basically says that the Rothschilds set up the Rockefeller, basically made the Rockefellers, powerful, so that the Rothschilds could use the Rockefellers to pretty much control United, the United States, pretty much the industry of the United States. He basically said that the Rockefellers are like the apprentice to the master. Like how the Sith, there's the rule of two with the master and the apprentice. Well, the master would be the Rothschilds, the apprentice would be like the Rockefellers. You got. He basically said there are families that are subservient to other families, like the Bushes. He said are like a C tier family, whereas the Rothschilds are like an A tier, A plus tier family. So these other families, he said basically that